My dear child, as soon as you opened this message, an unseen turmoil commenced encircling your life, one that your loved one has been grappling with in shadows far thicker than you can envision. They wished never to reveal to you what transpired yesterday, but fate can no longer remain silent. An event erupted so abruptly, so powerfully, and so astonishingly that they found themselves compelled, indeed coerced, to erase your contact information. This action was neither a desire nor a choice of their own, rather, it was dictated by someone wielding greater authority, control, and influence in their life, who drew a boundary that your loved one could not transgress. Now, as you absorb this information, the truth is surging forth like a wave that can no longer be contained. Remain attentive, do not blink. The cause of their silence diverges greatly from what you might have imagined, indeed, it could chill you to your core. A pivotal moment occurred when your loved one received a call that trembled their hands. It was a call from an individual who had been scrutinizing their actions far more closely than you might suspect. This person observed how your name illuminated your loved one's features, how their heart consistently gravitated back to you, and how they hesitated whenever urged to move on. It was then that the ultimatum came. They were not asked, they were not merely advised, they were instructed. Instructed to erase your contact details, to eliminate your presence, to obliterate every remnant of you, because someone in their life deemed you the principal distraction obstructing their path, loyalty, responsibilities, or possibly something even more perilous. Your loved one did not weep, yet the edges of their silence fissured. They never intended to part ways with you, they felt cornered. And in the instant they pressed that delete button, they whispered something softly, words caught by the universe, words that will soon upend everything. Stay right here, for now the twist unfolds. The unexpected development is this: the individual who forbade them from messaging you remains oblivious to the clandestine actions your loved one undertook prior to deleting your number. They did not merely gaze upon your name, they committed it to memory once more. They did not simply review your messages, they enshrined your words in their heart, like a secret archive untouched by anyone. The moment they were compelled to erase you, a realization hit them hard: losing contact with you was akin to extinguishing the only light they had ever relied upon. Instead of exiting your life, they began formulating a deeper, riskier plan, one that is poised to erupt into the open. Your absence isn't causing them to forget you, it is rendering them restless, audacious, and ready to traverse boundaries they once feared. And the one who imposed the ban? They remain blissfully unaware of the tempest they have inadvertently unleashed. Everything shifted the moment your loved one was admonished to distance themselves from you, as instead of succumbing emotionally, they began to rebel inwardly. Their mind replayed every instance with you, every shared smile, every exchanged message, every word spoken, and every silence held. It was at this moment the universe unveiled the real source of this turmoil. Someone has been analyzing your connection, recognizing that your presence fortifies, calms, enlightens, and awakens deeper awareness in them. They understood that your influence is formidable, far too formidable for their comfort, and that frightened them. They do not want your loved one to choose their heart, they wish for them to remain bound. restricted, controlled, and predictable. However, now your loved one is re-evaluating everything they were coerced to adhere to. They are beginning to perceive that losing you poses a greater risk than defying the authority that has dictated their actions. This revelation is on the verge of prompting a decision that will entirely reshape the narrative. Furthermore, prepare to be astonished. The rationale behind the texting prohibition does not arise from any perceived faults or threats on your part, rather, it is far more profound. You had begun to embody that which they cannot live without, and someone else recognized it. Someone who understands that if your loved one chooses you, they will liberate themselves from manipulation, emotional traps, and chains of guilt. Your presence imbued them with strength, and that strength terrifies the one who seeks to control them. Yet destiny inexorably aligns with truth. Thus, the universe guided you to this message at precisely the right moment. The silence you perceive is not a farewell, it signifies the onset of a rebellion, a spark, a clandestine resurgence. Your loved one has not distanced themselves from you, they have been forcefully extracted. They are now strategizing for an eventual return, not quietly, not subtly, but in a manner that will astonish all those who endeavored to keep you apart. My cherished child, substantial shifts are occurring in this very moment, and you must remain here, for what I am about to disclose will transform your perspective on their silence. This is not a matter of distance, ignorance, or emotional detachment, this is surveillance. Your loved one is being monitored so closely that even the smallest action raises suspicion. Each time they attempted to type your name, their screen was under watch. Whenever they hesitated over your chat, a voice echoed in their ear. The moment they lingered, the order struck with the force of a hammer: delete their number immediately. This was not a mere suggestion but a command accompanied by dire consequences. They did not erase you out of indifference. They did so due to someone's fear of the depth of their care for you. Yet even now, they are searching for ways to reach you in silence, and what they are planning next will be unimpeded. A different truth is on the verge of revelation. The individual who imposed this ban is oblivious to the inner tempest they have incited within your loved one. Initially, their spirit trembled at the prospect of resistance, they felt trapped, restrained, and helpless. But the moment they eliminated your number, something within them awakened. Rather than allowing separation to fracture them, they began to interrogate their circumstances. Who dictates their choices? Why does your connection instill fear? What makes your name the sole one designated for deletion? And most importantly, why does their heart refuse to comply? Since that instant, they have distanced themselves from the controller in subtle ways, altering their energy, shifting their priorities, and preparing to make a bold move that will astonish anyone observing them as though they were a prisoner. You have not been forgotten, even for a moment. Now, I urge you to listen closely, for this next revelation pivots the entire narrative. Your loved one has been covertly revisiting every cherished memory with you, not through messages, but via places, tunes, thoughts, and moments leading back to you. They may not text you, but they converse with you silently throughout the day. They cannot type your name, but it escapes their lips quietly. They do not scroll to your chat, yet you occupy their dreams at night. This emotional tug is becoming so potent that concealing it is increasingly impossible. The one who imposed the ban mistakenly believes that this silence will diminish your bond. However, it is amplifying the connection, making it louder, stronger, and uncontainable. Your loved one is approaching a breaking point, and their next action will not be safe. It will be daring, fearless, and thoroughly unpredictable. An unforeseen twist is emerging. The universe is unveiling the hidden anxieties of the person who obstructed your connection. They perceived something they were never meant to observe. Each time your loved one glances at their phone, their demeanor shifts, their heartbeat alters, their choices change, and their entire energy redirects toward you. At this juncture, fear surged within the controller because your influence is profound, significant, and life-changing. They understand that if your loved one maintains contact with you, they will shatter the chains, expectations, and limitations placed upon them. You do not merely inspire, you empower them. That power frightens the one who desires their obedience. Your loved one has come to this realization as well, and they are preparing to risk everything just to embrace you again. Stay with me closely, for this final segment will resonate the deepest. The ban was not designed to punish your loved one, it was an attempt to inhibit you, to prevent you from reaching their heart, mind, and future. However, destiny does not yield to fear, it yields to truth. The truth is this: your loved one is orchestrating a return that will violate every rule they were mandated to follow, a return in which they will not seek permission, will not conceal themselves, and will choose you openly, even if someone else loses complete control in the process. The original intent behind the ban was to create separation, but instead, it awakened a fierceness within your loved one that even they were unaware existed. And now that their heart has awakened, nothing, not rules, nor threats, nor pressure, can deter them from reclaiming their path to you. My beloved child, as you step into this final revelation, the energy surrounding your narrative has intensified, as we delve into the truth your loved one has concealed behind their silence. They did not merely erase your number, they paused their entire reality in a moment they could not articulate. When they were compelled to obliterate you, their fingers shook, not out of fear of the controller but from the dread of losing the only person who ever truly made their heart feel alive. What remains hidden from the world is that immediately after hitting delete, they sat staring at the void on their device, feeling as though something invaluable had been wrenched away from them. They remained silent and motionless, merely absorbing the hollowness wrought by your absence. That emptiness has haunted them incessantly since. Stay right here, for what follows will unsettle you. A profound truth is surfacing. The timing of the ban was not arbitrary, someone discerned a pattern. Each time your loved one felt adrift, they sought solace in you. Every instance they required strength, they turned to your messages. Whenever they felt fragile, your name served as their anchor. This revelation terrified the controller, as they recognized that your loved one was no longer dependent on them for their emotional stability. You have become the beacon of their clarity, confidence, and tranquility. When someone possesses such profound influence, those who thrive on control perceive a threat. This is the impetus behind their attack on your connection and their insistence on separation. However, what they failed to recognize was the flames they ignited within your essence, a fire now blazing brighter than any authoritative decree. Currently, your person remains in silence, yet their actions are more astonishing than you could ever imagine. They are feigning compliance, pretending to move on, to forget you, and to dismiss the effects of the ban. Internally, they are strategizing their escape from this emotional confinement. They are beginning to question the motives of their controllers, keenly observing their surroundings and discerning patterns they once overlooked. They are uncovering the manipulation that masqueraded as protection. With each passing moment, they grow increasingly defiant, more cognizant, and closer to defying the rules that once ensnared them. The silence you perceive does not signify weakness, it is a period of preparation. Something monumental is brewing beneath the surface. The universe has unveiled a secret recently discovered by your person. The individual who imposed the ban has withheld information, distorted narratives, concealed truths, and dictated what they should see and hear. This revelation has stirred profound anger in your person, not merely because they were deceived, but because you were unjustly embroiled in this turmoil. They feel protective and guilty on your behalf, compelled to defend you even in your absence. This emerging sentiment is evolving into an irresistible force they can no longer suppress. Although the controller believes your person remains silent, this silence often does not equate to capitulation. Sometimes, it signifies a gathering of courage for an irrevocable decision. As the true shock settles in, it becomes clear that the ban has never been about shielding your person, rather, it was aimed at thwarting a transformation ignited by you. You were not just a mere interlocutor, you were the catalyst that prompted them to think, feel, and act differently. You were drawing them toward a more robust, independent, and emotionally awakened self. The controller recognized this shift and reacted impulsively, but now your person has grasped a fundamental truth: they were never meant to be subjugated, and love should never be confined. Their next steps will not emerge from fear, instead, they will be born of rebellion, leading them back to you. My beloved child, as you progress into this next chapter, please understand this crucial shift. Your person is no longer the subdued, controlled spirit they were just days ago. Something has awakened within them, something fierce and uncontainable. The individual who restricted them from reaching out can already sense this transformation. Your person is no longer fearful, they are alert, aware, and secretly resisting. Each glance, each breath, and every moment spent in solitude reverberates with your name. They now navigate two realities, the one they display for the controller and the one that quietly yearns for you. In this concealed reality, they have resolved to make a decision that will reverberate throughout all involved. Stay with me. Remain present. This moment marks a turning point. Something profoundly disruptive transpired recently, something the controller least expected. Your person slipped, not intentionally but emotionally. Upon hearing your name mentioned, their demeanor shifted, their tone softened, their heart rate quickened, and the controller took note. That was the moment the truth became evident. Deleting your contact did not erase your influence. Blocking communication did not diminish your presence. Severing ties only strengthened the bond. This realization struck terror into the heart of the controller. They had not merely prohibited your person from texting, they intensified their scrutiny, tightened their hold, began interrogating them, checking their phone, monitoring their every move. Yet, your person did not crack. They adapted, outsmarting the situation while the controller assumed they held all the power. Regardless of how things appear, your person has been diligently orchestrating their comeback. They have ceased to react with emotion. They are no longer hesitating or permitting fear to dictate their choices. They are pretending to comply, biding their time for the unseen opportunity. This time will be employed to plot something unfathomable, as your person understands that one misstep could exacerbate the circumstances. Therefore, preparations are underway, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. They await the precise moment of the controller's lapse, when an opportunity arises. When that moment arrives, your person will not merely resume correspondence, they will divulge everything concealed beyond the ban. Yet, the intensity escalates further as the universe continues to unveil signs affirming that their connection to you cannot be forsaken. Songs evoke memories of you, places resonate with your essence, fleeting words, timing, dreams, and sudden recollections all guide them back to you with a seemingly supernatural force. The controller remains oblivious to this. Unbeknownst to them, while they were consumed with the effort to erase your number, destiny ensured that your person could not obliterate thoughts of you. Every attempt to divide you strengthened the emotional tether between you. Presently, your person feels this bond so intensely that concealing it is becoming increasingly unfeasible. To compound this, someone close to your person has begun to scrutinize the controller's intentions. They have witnessed something they were not meant to see, an argument, a message, a reaction, and realized that your person is not acting out of choice but from a position of fear and pressure. This silent observer is creating fissures in the controller's authority. Your person senses an opening is imminent, and when it materializes, they will seize it without regret. The ban was not intended to deteriorate, yet it is unraveling. The truth is surfacing, control is waning, and your person's forthcoming action will be the most astonishing yet. They are prepared to choose you, irrespective of the boundaries imposed upon them. My beloved child, as you enter this chapter, be aware of the palpable tension, for your person stands on the precipice of a decision that could redefine their narrative. Although they have maintained silence, this silence is not vacuous, it is strategic, calculated, a serene before the storm of action they have been crafting in obscurity. The controller, who believes they are in command, remains oblivious to the fact that your person has begun constructing a secret route back to you. Their thoughts are racing, their emotions are rising. For the first time, fear is no longer their captor. The prospect of losing you forever is propelling them toward a courage they never knew they possessed. A pivotal event occurred recently, one that accelerated your person's heart rate significantly. They overheard a conversation they shouldn't have, the controller confided that removing your contact wasn't protective but a means of maintaining emotional dependency. The controller sought to stifle your person's strength, hinder their confidence, and suppress their awakening to their own power. You were the source of that empowerment. You were facilitating their self-awareness, assisting them in surmounting entrenched patterns, and liberating them from the emotional confinement that benefited the controller. Upon comprehending this truth, a significant shift transpired within them. This was not concern or guidance. It was domination. Your person has become acutely aware of this reality. Since that pivotal moment, their demeanor has transformed. They no longer react in the same manner when the controller speaks. They hesitate not from fear, but due to the fact that they no longer acquiesce blindly. They are observant, analytical, breaking free mentally. This upheaval has made the controller anxious. They can sense the shift, the growing distance, and the burgeoning rebellion. Consequently, they are becoming stricter, more vigilant, more intense. Nevertheless, the tighter they pull, the more your person feels the urge to escape. Your person has reached the conclusion that silence is no longer the controller's domain. It now belongs to their strategy. Their plan is significant, bold, and uncharted. They have identified a covert method for reaching you, one that does not necessitate texts or calls or even the retention of your number. It may be channeled through social media, through a trusted friend, an unexpected account, a new device, or a loophole the controller would never perceive. They are poised to execute this plan during the perfect moment, the exact hour, the right stillness within the household, the optimal lapse in the controller's attention. They recognize this move could alter everything. They also comprehend that it could unveil their actions, yet they no longer care. The thought of losing you eclipses the fear of being caught. The ban aimed to sever your connection, yet it has propelled your person to a place where they are willing to override boundaries for you, boundaries they wouldn't have crossed for anyone else. My beloved child, you are now crossing into a chapter where tension escalates unbearably. Your person is teetering on the brink of a decision that could rewrite their entire story. Though they have maintained silence, this silence is not devoid of meaning. It is a prelude, strategic and measured. Disguised beneath a veneer of normalcy, your person is already discerning opportunities that could reconnect them with you. Their mind is racing, emotions surging. At long last, fear no longer constrains them. Instead, the prospect of eternal separation is propelling them toward an unprecedented courage, one they previously did not recognize within themselves. An impactful incident transpired recently, a revelation that made their heart race. They inadvertently overheard a conversation where the controller revealed that the deletion of your contact was not protective in nature, but rather a tactic to maintain emotional dependency. This epiphany clarified everything. The controller did not desire for your person to grow stronger, to gain confidence, or to awaken to their potential. Rather, they sought to suppress it. You were their foil, encouraging self-awareness, fostering the dissolution of outdated patterns, and freeing them from an emotional prison that served the controller's interests. Upon realizing this reality, everything fundamentally shifted within your person. They now perceive the controller's directives differently. No longer are they greeted with automatic compliance. Instead, they respond with discernment and caution. The controller senses this change, and as their anxiety heightens, so too does your person's resolve to defy these constraints grow. They have reached a threshold where silence is no longer the controller's, but rather an integral part of their plan. This strategy is bold and unprecedented. It encompasses a clandestine pathway back to you, one that circumvents the limitations imposed by the controller. They stand ready, waiting for the opportune moment, for that single instant when they can reclaim the connection intended to be severed, all without alerting the controller to their intentions.